Electricast.
Welcome to Her Extraordinary Life by Design, where we celebrate women who are shaping their lives one extraordinary day at a time. I'm your host, Leslie Gaudette, self-care coach for women who are ready to make self-care a priority to support them in life and business. Every week, I'll be speaking with inspiring women from various walks of life who will share their personal journeys and will discover how they have fearlessly carved their own paths as business owners, passionately pursuing their dreams and creating a meaningful impact on their communities. So let's get started. Welcome to Her Extraordinary Life by Design, where we celebrate women who are shaping their lives one extraordinary day at a time. Today, we're talking with the beautiful Jennifer Yassen. Jennifer is a holistic brand marketing consultant, strategist, and storytelling coach. She's also the founder of and CEO of The Freed Agency, a brand marketing agency that works with impact-driven entrepreneurs and CEOs to help them build their brands online through authentic marketing and storytelling. With a corporate background in the fashion and music industry, she has held leadership roles where she brought numerous brands and products to market campaigns and events, connecting people and brands while driving record levels of awareness, engagement, and growth. She has contributed to the development of brands and product lines, launched innovative collaborations and partnerships, including Revolve and Fab Fit Fun, Loot Music, and implemented go-to marketing strategies, including the global launch of several celebrity brands such as Flower Eyewear by Drew Barrymore and Kendall and Kylie Eyewear. As a storytelling coach, she works with entrepreneurs who have a desire to change the world and are ready to answer their calling and purpose. They have lived through their stories in order to impact someone's life, and now they're prepared to build and grow their brands and cultivate successful businesses. By connecting the dots of their passions, story, and experience through effective storytelling, they can create a world-changing brand. Everything that exists on this planet has a purpose, and that includes each and every one of us. We have been called to do something magnificent and knowing that you can fulfill it. I totally agree with that statement, 100%. So let's talk to this beautiful lady. Welcome, Jennifer. It's great to have you on the show today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Leslie. I've been looking forward to this. So glad that I'm here.
Yeah, well, I'm so happy to have you. So let's just get into it. Let's start by getting to know you a little bit better. Can you share a little bit about your life and how you grew up, after which then we'll get into what you're currently doing today? So the floor is yours.
Sure. So a little bit about me. I grew up outside of Philadelphia, and I went to school in New Jersey after meeting my now ex-husband, but we were together almost 20 years. I met him when I was 14, even though we knew each other when I was very young, because our families used to go to the same, had a condo in the same place. And after that, I moved to New Jersey with him to go to college. And at going to college, I was majoring in political science and minoring in music management. I thought I wanted to own my own record label. I was really passionate about music. I always wanted to be a singer when I was young. And so fast forward to, I got actually a job in the music industry, started my career out at Universal Music Group, which was a ton of fun. Then went into the fashion industry. And, fast forward to the end of 2019 is when I left corporate, while at the same time, I just had gotten married that September of 2019, even though we were together at that point, almost 18 years or 19 years, almost at that point. So we were together a really long time. And then basically after my last corporate job, I really wanted to take the holidays off since it was the end of 2019 and kind of rediscover what I wanted out of my career and my life. And because that year, particularly leading up to my wedding, was really tough. And I didn't really fully understand, why. Fast forward, I hired a career coach, but then also found out shortly thereafter, my ex was living a double life. That was happening like before and after our marriage. And so after leaving him and, having hired the career coach, I then decided I'm going to launch my own business. And this happened a few weeks before the pandemic. And so it was a lot of transition. And so since then, I've really found, I've tried many different things, but really always focused on, I always knew that I wanted to work with brands that had a really strong purpose, that wanted to change the world in a meaningful way. Ever since I was young, that was something I was always passionate about. I always believed like brands had a civic duty to change the world because they could really impact society. They can change a narrative. They can really bring people together. And when I was young, I'm dating myself here, but movies like Free Willy and Fern Gully, it's like those movies really showed you the impact that corporations can have on the environment and animals and people, with a really blatant disregard for other people other than their pockets. And so I wanted to work with brands that really believed in that holistic approach to that we can all win, that win-win, and that it could be, profits, not over people, and so that's what I really set out to do. And so I started also coaching entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, and still to this day, I have a membership where I help people really build their brands online. And that's really been fun, is really helping people use their own stories, because, a lot of people start businesses based on experiences that they've lived through, and that they want to help others and collapse time for others. And they don't know necessarily how to articulate that. And so that's where I have come in and really have helped people do that.
I really love that about your story, like, especially because, you have a really diverse background in so many different areas. And I love the fact that you decided to bring, those things from your past into your present and using them to help other people, especially with the storytelling and that. So let's talk about your business more. Tell us more about what you do, like how you discovered your passion. I know that you talked about how you wanted to, be a singer, and you did get into the music industry. So how did you really discover your passion for, I guess, entertaining in a way that now you're helping other people find their own voice to, showcasing that, I guess, that creative side to them. So tell us like how you discovered your own passion around that, your purpose. And then, of course, what steps did you take to fully pursue it?
Yeah. So I think I always innately knew when I was young, I wanted to be on stage. I mean, even the fact that I wanted to be on stage as a singer, I wanted to be on stage to use that as a platform to advocate for the people, planet, animals, and sort of that, like, we have to do business differently. We have to do business better. So I always knew I wanted to use that as a platform. So I innately knew that. It's not something that I necessarily discovered, but I think in terms of being among and around people that live their life with that purpose first, that mission mentality, has really, in human design, I'm a generator. So it really ignites another passion within me in order to carry that out. And also too, I would say that I've always been passionate about people, like even in marketing, which is a very creative role. And I was always working in various aspects of marketing. I always love the story. It's kind of like the VH1 behind the music, where I always loved the why, what motivated someone to write this song? What was the story behind it? And for me, I always loved that. And even in marketing, when I was in corporate, and even now, I really focus on the narrative, the position, the story that really focuses on connecting with the audience. And I always loved people. I always have thought, and I still think people are so interesting. They're super creative, and like they are so amazing, and the things that people have lived through. Even when I was young, like a funny story. I don't know what it was, but I think it was like some pageant or something that my sister and I were in. And I won interview with the judges, some award like that. And I remember my mom told me I was hysterically crying because I didn't win for dance. And I was a dancer when I was young. And I didn't realize, but like now this is like a valuable skill, like having the podcast and interviewing clients and really helping bring their brands to life. It's something I've always enjoyed. So long story short, not to get off track, but in terms of the steps that I've taken, I always knew I wanted to work for myself at some point. I think hiring the career coach, seeking out help, having someone guide me, and then go through this process, which isn't very easy, has really helped decide what is my next step on the journey, because you never really know. You have an idea, but it's a very windy process. But really following what really aligns with me and lights me up has probably been the steps that I've taken in just ensuring that I'm aligning with people that share my values and beliefs, and making sure I'm in rooms that are like pushing me.
No, I love that. And I think too, that you brought a couple of key points really important. It's like, we don't have to do things alone. And I think we get better. We get more out of our experience if we share what we're doing with someone else, and especially someone else who can actually see the gaps that we can't see when we're trying to build our brand. But I also love the other side to that too, is, we all, when we're creating these online businesses, or we're creating businesses in general, we're looking externally to what other people are doing. And it's easier to like look at what someone else is doing and then pick apart what we're doing, rather than just looking at like what aligns with us, what are our unique gifts and our talents, our skill sets that we can actually really promote to and be part of our branding, because we're individual for a reason. And I think that's beautiful. I think that it wouldn't be a very fun, I think, world to live in if everyone was exactly the same. I like the diversity of, people doing different things, coming from a different perspective, even if they're in the same industry, they have their own flavor that they add to it. So I really love that, you brought that to the awareness.
Yeah. And just to add to that, I think that's a really important point to make as someone that helps people build brands is, so often we get into entrepreneurship, and the truth is, I always say, is entrepreneurship really shines a light on all of your inner shadows. So this is much as a self-development journey as it is an entrepreneurship journey, and you're really learning about yourself. And the key in building anything is like, you have to believe in it when no one else does. And the truth is, because you're not building it for others' approval, you're building it to fulfill your own passion and your own purpose. And it is challenging, especially if you're building something that's never been done before. So, and I work with a lot of those people, and it takes time. And in our on-demand world today, people think that you are suddenly going to open your business and open up shop and set up website and a logo, and you're like, I'm going to be successful. And it's couldn't be further from the truth, because not only are you trying to find yourself, but then also trying to cut through the noise. And if you're too busy trying to emulate everyone else, you're never going to cut through the noise, especially today when we're living in the age of AI right now. And so it really is important to have a solid foundation of yourself and understanding of yourself, what matters to you, because you are the differentiator. You said it, like, your unique perspective. No one else has that but you. You could be in the room with the same person that does the same thing as you, but you're still going to bring your flavor, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also like too that you touched on what you love about working with different people is when you start to actually I don't know if it's investigate, but you start looking at what they do so that you can help them, is like really getting behind the why. I think the why is so important. It's really powerful. And I think a lot of people don't really understand what the why really means and how powerful it is. Because for me, what the why truly means that when you know exactly why you do what you do, the passion behind it, you wake every waking moment that you have, everything that you do comes from that place. But and when you have that aha moment, like, this is my why, it's incredible feeling, but it's also sometimes hard to find if you're looking at all the outside noise and being influenced by the outside. So I love that you brought that to our attention. Yes. So can you share a specific strategy or mindset shift that's played a significant role in your success as a business owner?
Yeah. So I'm always striving to learn and grow. I'm always looking for a bigger picture, asking why, getting to the root of, the intention behind it. And I think, my mindset I've always struggled with mindset. But, through this self-development journey, I have a lot of like ADHD tendencies. I've learned a lot about myself. And so I understand, um, also like the trauma that I've been through and how that's affected my mindset. So just having like more self-awareness, and trying to have more self-compassion and grace has been really helpful. And I've always believed in collaboration and asking for help. I've struggled with asking for help for sure in the past, and it's still a struggle, but it's something that I work on and really do try to work with others. I love collaborating. So it's not really the collaboration piece. It's really like asking for help and admitting that like, hey, I can't do this, when I've always been very like self-sufficient. So in terms of like what this means for other people, I would say that, your mind is really understand that your mind is designed to keep you safe. It's designed to keep you comfortable because comfortability is safety. And so, but being an entrepreneur, you have to be adaptive and really push yourself and color outside the lines, if you will, which to your mind, it's like alarm bells. It's like, no, it wants to run and hide. So really trying to understand that yourself, listen to your intuition. And I would say get with people in the same rooms that are doing what you want to do, have accomplished what you want to accomplish, or at least align with your values and beliefs, because you are a byproduct of who you surround yourself with. So I don't know if that answered your question. I kind of bounced around a little bit, but
Yep. No, that's fine. No, I appreciate that.
yeah.
I think too, like you were saying, the mind really does play tricks. I don't know if it plays tricks, but it does actually work to keep us safe. And when the unknown is presented, it doesn't want to go out, like you were saying, coloring outside the lines, because that just doesn't make sense, because you can't see the outcome. So you don't know if the outcome is going to be safe or it's going to be dangerous. So I love that you brought that up.
Mhm.
So my next question is two-part.
Mhm.
It's about self-care. So first, what does self-care mean to you, and how do you prioritize it in your daily life?
Yeah. So self-care, I used to think self-care was like, getting your nails done, going for facials, pampering yourself. What I've really come to understand, and it really means putting yourself first. It really ensures that it means that you ensure you're okay before moving on and trying to take care of someone else or something else. Um, and in business, for example, like if you don't pay yourself first, the business can't sustain. If you don't build a solid foundation in terms of a solid brand identity, understanding who you are, why you exist, what your mission purpose is, who your target audience is, when you open up shop, you won't be able to last very long, or you'll find it really difficult to stay the course, and see your service through for your clients. Because again, you don't have that firm and solid like root system within you and your business. You're not going to be able to really sustain. And I would say in terms of how I prioritize it in my daily life, this as a recovering people pleaser, like I like to refer to myself as, and as someone that has always like hustled for my worth. My friend Mary Addison coined that term. I've always tried to like prove myself and prove to everyone else that I'm good enough. So I rarely put myself first. I rarely prioritized me. I made everyone else and everything else a priority. And what I've come to understand is like in the end, like we all lose, right? My clients or customers or friends or my partner doesn't get the best version of me. And then because I'm not really doing the things that I necessarily love, it's taking me away from things that I do enjoy. So what I would say, in terms of how I'm prioritizing it, like but in the morning, like I'm always trying at least to stick to like meditation, journaling, like self-care time. In business, I'm really making sure I pay myself first. Again, I'm not perfect and I don't want to, lie to anyone that says like, and I struggle with consistency. So I think as long as you have the awareness and you put forth the effort, like it's good enough until you could catch your stride.
Yeah, and I so agree. One of the things that I really try to express to anyone that I talk to about self-care is that it doesn't have to look the same as anyone else because it's unique to your lifestyle. You could have some days where you have more time and other days where you only have 10 minutes in the morning to do your meditation and then maybe 5 minutes of journaling. So it really looks different for everyone. And it's just finding what works for you. And also like sprinkling, I like to sprinkle out throughout the day, self-care, and the essentials like taking those breaks, making sure that you're not just all work, 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 and taking time to like really just re-energize, so that you can get back to being focused on what you're doing. So I love that you pointed that out.
Yeah.
So yeah. And so one of the things I wanted to ask you is like, I know you say that you prioritize it. So how do you find that balance when you have, your personal and your professional life? What tips would you give for the listeners who may struggle with balancing their personal and their professional life when it comes to self-care? Well, self-care, I guess, in your personal life and your professional life, meaning you have the things in your daily life that are like maybe non-negotiables, and the same for your professional life. But how do you find that balance for yourself?
I literally probably don't think I'm the best person to give advice, but I could come from a place of like what not to do because it's definitely something I've struggled with. I mean, even I used to like never, like even when I was in corporate, I never would like get up and go out and like leave my desk sometimes. Like there were days like I would work like straight through, or I would come home and get on the laptop and literally work till I was like falling asleep. Right. Like I was doing no one like an actual service with being that way. I would say, since going down my entrepreneurship journey and really struggling with kind of like ADHD classic symptoms and like combined with my people pleasing and like hustling for my worth, getting hyper focused, procrastination, like where everything is in code red. What I've really understood is that myself and my relationships suffer. And so the balance really has like understand that there needs to be a time when I put work away. And like on the weekends, like I really try to like not work. I even try to like get off social media and really just be present because there's so much gold with being present. And that's something I've always struggled with. Also just like eating, like I made sure because I didn't eat that I made sure I ate before this podcast. I made sure like I prioritized getting, my work done. And I have like breaks between before and after, meetings. Like, because I would literally, there were times I would roll right into the next meeting and I would be on calls all day. And I just try to fit everything in my schedule. So, I think there's never going to be a perfect balance, but in my opinion, it's like, if you're prioritizing yourself and making the space, like you said, for you and put yourself first, you'll feel so much better. You'll be able to handle things, make sure you get your water, make sure you work out or go for a walk and remember like your energy. So if you're not exerting yourself, all of that energy is just pent up inside of your body. Yeah. So I hope that helps someone.
Yeah, I know. And I love that. I think that's really important to really find that balance. And I know a lot of people say that there's no such thing as work-life balance. And I think you really just described exactly how I look at work-life balance. It's really like being able to be intentional, to have clarity and focus on the things that are business related so that and using your time effectively. So you do those things so that when you have that, that downtime, spending with quality time with your loved ones, you can have, be all in on that and you're not resentful because you're not working on your business, and vice versa. When you're working in your business, you put aside that quality time for your loved ones, your friends, taking care of yourself, you don't feel, guilty for spending time working on your business. So to me, that's how work-life balance works, is just being, really totally focused and intentional on your work, using your time effectively, having that clarity so that, you're all in, you're good, you get things done. And then you focus totally on your personal life, your self-care, your spending time with your loved ones. and really putting in that time, and you're all in, and you're not looking, over your shoulder thinking, oh, I have work to do. So that's to me what the work-life balance looks like. And that's what I've come to find makes more sense than just saying like, having this many hours for work and this many hours for your family. It just, to me, that doesn't work, because some days are different, because we all have demanding lives, and we can't always know how the day is going to go, because even though you might plan it out, right, you have plans, it doesn't mean like, oh, your plans are there, no problem, there's nothing going to disrupt it. So that's to me like the for my own personal, understanding of it, and how I like to like work with anyone that I do, to give them that understanding, so they don't feel like, oh, I have to have this amount of time for each, and then if it overlaps, then they feel guilty or resentful.
Yeah.
So yeah,
because you get in business, you don't get in business to be in another box. I mean, if you're opening up your own business or you have your own business, you're trying to create something on your schedule to give yourself that freedom. And you don't really have that opportunity if you are putting all these parameters on yourself, and you need the balance and you need structure so you can have the freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So last question. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to women who are afraid to pursue their dreams or start their own business?
I would say like true fulfillment can really only come from living in and on purpose. So living in your purpose and living on purpose. Because I believe that's really true freedom. You're living in alignment with your values, your beliefs, and what you feel called to do. And to really understand that discovering yourself and really understanding how to combine your skills, your purpose, your passion into a business that can actually earn yourself money, but also contribute to the world, because the world needs you. Like literally, you are a puzzle piece. And that if you don't actually claim and own your puzzle piece, the grand puzzle of life or of this world cannot be complete. So this doesn't mean that you have to do it all by yourself. It doesn't even have to be full time. It can even be a side hustle, right? But understanding that you never really get to understand how to like own you, because security, what I've come to really understand, like, security is really only found within you, because you're a piece of God. And for me, it's God. For you, it might be the universe, or forever, for someone else. But, you've been designed it's like you've been designed with all the bells and whistles. Like think about like a race car. If a race car has all of these like amazing attributes, and it never even leaves the garage, you'll never know what it's capable of. And how will you ever experience the true thrill or excitement or joy if you've never left the garage? So when you are stuck in someone else's box, you are not really understanding like what it's like outside of that. And you never really get to fully express or experience what it could be like. So what I would say is like, listen, the journey isn't easy, but it's worth it. And like I said, you're learning more about yourself than you probably ever will. It's like a crash course in like self-development and life development. And it's definitely not for the faint of heart. But like I said, you can design it however you want. And I want people to understand is like, it doesn't have to look like anybody else. It can look like your own, what you believe, what you desire. And that's the only way you're going to stand out today, is by really owning you.
Yeah, I love that. I love the puzzle pieces. That was definitely something that resonated with me. I just love that, that analogy, because again, we are individual, and I think that's great. And we should embrace our uniqueness and what we bring. Like you said, no matter where you are in life, no matter who you are, the world needs you, your perspective, sharing and giving and providing value. So I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for sharing today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. I'm sure the listeners found great value from what you shared today. I know that I did. I loved, as I said, the puzzle pieces, just bringing it home. I'll make sure. Yeah, it was great. I'll make sure that the show notes provides the listeners with how they can get in touch with you. And again, I appreciate that you took some time today because it's just been such a great conversation.
No, thanks for having me. I'm so glad.
And everyone else, thank you for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and a beautiful week ahead. Until then, keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep designing your extraordinary life one day at a time. Thank you for joining me on Her Extraordinary Life by Design. I hope you've been inspired and empowered by the incredible stories shared on this show. If you enjoyed this episode and the conversations we've had, I would greatly appreciate if you could take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback and support mean the world to me, and it will help others discover the podcast and join our empowering community. Remember to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Together, we can continue to learn from these amazing women, uncover their extraordinary journeys, and be motivated to create our own lives by design. Thank you again for tuning in. Until next time, stay empowered and keep shaping your extraordinary life one day at a time. Electric acid.